And now let's get started, and over to you, Michael.
Thank you, Larissa, for hosting today's sessions and for so kindly introducing me. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Realizing Clean Core and Enterprise Architecture Perspective. That is part 4 of our webcast series on enterprise architecture for modern SAP landscapes. I'm Michael, and today we're addressing one of the most critical challenges facing enterprise architects out there: how to maintain competitive advantage while ensuring SAP systems remain agile, cost-efficient, and innovation-ready. The central concept here is clean core. Clean core isn't just a technical concept, it's a strategic imperative that directly impacts your organization's ability to adapt and thrive in today's rather changing business environment. Yeah, we immediately deep dive into the session with a poll that Larissa is about to start, and we're going to have it run for at least some minutes, if not the whole session, to understand where you stand in these efforts. In this session, we'll explore the topic through key perspectives. First, why clean core has become essential for business success. Second, what clean core actually means from an architectural standpoint. And third, how to implement clean core principles practically, with particular focus on extensibility, since this generates the most questions and misconceptions, at least in my work. And that's a dimension where enterprise architects have a particular right to play. By the end of our session, you'll have a clear understanding of the clean core framework, practical guidance for implementation, and the architectural patterns needed to build a truly future-ready SAP landscape. Let's begin our journey. So let me introduce myself briefly. I'm a global enterprise architect at SAP with over 10 years of experience helping customers navigate their ERP transformations. I sit in SAP's premium engagement and advisory practice as part of a global team of enterprise architects serving our premium engagement customers. This webcast series consists of 4 sessions running weekly through July 1st. That is today, we actually end the series. Each session stands alone, so you can join any interest or any that interests you most. And we'll have interactive Q&A at the end. Drop your questions in the Q&A feature, and I'll share practical examples throughout that you can then apply in your projects. So we, as said, focus on 3 sections. We start with the why section, which is kind of the business case. I established a fundamental imperative for clean core. I addressed current market challenges, demonstrate the consequences of your inaction, and provide real customer success stories that validate the approach. This first section creates the urgency and builds confidence for you in clean core as a necessity in moving to cloud ERP. So let's start. Why do we need a clean core? Let me start by setting the stage. We're living in an era where the pace of business change has never been faster. Companies across all industries are grappling with a fundamental question: how do we stay competitive and relevant when everything around us is constantly evolving? SAP recognizes this challenge. We hear you and have positioned ourselves to lead organizations into the next era of enterprise management by bringing all components together in a unified approach. As you can see on the slide, customers must consider 3 essential factors to future-proof business operations. First, prioritizing agility and flexibility. In today's business environment, rigidity is the enemy of success. Companies need the ability to pivot quickly when market conditions change, when new regulations emerged, or when unexpected business opportunities arise. Traditional on-premise ERP systems often rather act like anchors, slowing down the very agility that businesses desperately need. Let me share an example of my customers, a global manufacturing company that suddenly needed to shift production priorities due to supply chain disruptions during COVID. With a modern cloud ERP system, they can reconfigure their processes and redistribute resources in real time or near real time rather than waiting weeks for system updates and modifications. Then second, real-time data access and decision-making. The days of making business decisions based on last month's reports are over to me. Companies that operate with outdated or fragmented information are essentially flying blind in today's landscape. So when your sales team doesn't have real-time visibility into inventory levels, or when your finance department is working with data that's 3 days old, you're setting yourself up for costly mistakes and missed opportunities. Modern cloud ERP systems, in turn, eliminate these information silos, providing a single source of truth that updates in near real time across all departments and functions. And third, driving innovation and securing growth. This is where enterprise architecture plays a crucial role. A well-designed enterprise architecture ensures that your technology investments aren't just solving today's problems, but positioning you for tomorrow's opportunities. Companies need solid.
Michael, yes? Sorry for interrupting. We experience broken audio from your side.
Thanks for the feedback. Let me check. Can you hear me now again?
Yes, thank you. And please continue.
Yeah, thanks for the feedback. So back to the third item, driving innovation and securing growth. As I said, enterprise architecture plays a crucial role here in that a well-designed architecture ensures that your technology investments aren't just solving today's problems, but positioning you for tomorrow's opportunities. You need systems that can evolve with emerging technologies like AI, machine learning, IoT, without requiring a complete infrastructure overhaul on your end. Yeah, and with that, let me move to the next point that holds a fundamental truth to me. That is, the accelerating pace of innovation creates tremendous opportunity, but only if your core systems are ready to support it. This is, again, where enterprise architecture becomes critical in guiding your organizations toward the right foundation for innovation. Today's business environment presents us with a paradox. We have more technology capabilities available than ever before. AI, machine learning, advanced analytics, IoT connectivities, yet many organizations find themselves unable to capitalize on these innovations. Why? Because their existing systems, core systems, have become barriers rather than enablers. So let's examine 3 main obstacles that on-premise systems create. Number 1 is lack of standardization. Organizations have evolved their ERP systems over years, if not decades, deviating significantly from standard processes. These customizations create complexity that makes troubleshooting difficult and innovation rather impossible. Second would be excessive customizations, with an emphasis on excessive. Organizations often customize their ERP rightfully to match existing processes rather than adapting processes to leverage ERP best practices. But if done excessively, these customizations become technical debt that makes future upgrades complex and expensive. And third, poor data quality. This creates data silos, isolated pools of information that don't communicate effectively across the organization. So when your data doesn't align, you're essentially flying blind when making strategic decisions. And this is where the right side of the slide comes into play, the clean core transformation. A clean core approach transforms these obstacles into competitive advantages. It does eliminate complexity. So by standardizing processes and reducing unnecessary customizations, you create an environment where change happens quickly and efficiently. This is where proper enterprise architecture provides the framework for maintaining simplicity while meeting business needs. Second would be accelerating innovation. With a clean core foundation, your time to value decreases dramatically, New business requirements can be implemented faster, and your business model can adapt to challenges more easily. And third, I argue you unlock AI-driven value. So with reliable, consistent data flowing through your clean core system, you can finally leverage advanced analytics and AI predictions really effectively, that is robustly. Yeah. And with that, I invite you to follow my double click on the really business case perspective you see here on the bottom of the slide. So clean core enabled continuous innovation can deliver up to 75% more incremental business value over a 10-year period. So let's sync that statement for a second. And while doing so, I proceed to the next slide, which does focus on the business value. Let me share two compelling examples of how our customers have materialized significant value through their clean core implementations. These are real results from real implementations. Hitachi achieved a 94% reduction in sub-ERP add-ons, decreasing from over 9,000 to just 520. Their upgrade cycles improved dramatically, reducing ERP upgrade time from 1.5 years to approximately 1 month. As Yuri Yasuda from Hitachi noted, we previously upgraded sub-ERP version every 5 years, taking about 1.5 years from preparation to implementation. And this transformation creates a more manageable, standardized technology foundation that enables faster innovation and reduced operational overhead. Second, Accenture. Accenture removed 21% of custom code from their core. That's 353 programs and RISE AFWs decommissioned in just 6 months, significantly reducing testing requirements and eliminating obsolete processes. Accenture also achieved 77% faster integration speeds, generating a 70% improvement in auto-clearing performance. As Eli Lambert, Managing Director of Finance Platforms, Global IT at Accenture explained, quote unquote, our IT people are freed up to focus on future-proofing your processes and technology by consuming cloud capabilities enabled by a clean core. So these examples demonstrate how clean core strategies do deliver measurable business value through simplified operations and faster upgrades. Good. With that, let me close our first section in which we focused on the why. And now we move on to the what. What is a clean core in the first place? Yeah, we've now moved to the what section of our presentation. This slide provides like the foundational definition of clean core. Let's define what it actually means. Clean core refers to a set of guiding principles that support continuous business transformation by designing agile, innovative, and efficient ERP systems. The key insight for me here is that clean core represents a shift away from traditional ERP implementation approaches. Rather than relying on heavy, extensive customization, which we've seen creates the obstacles we discussed earlier, clean core focuses on building systems that are inherently flexible and future ready. And this is again where we, the enterprise architects, contribute value. We play a crucial role in guiding organizations towards this new paradigm. Enterprise architecture provides the framework for implementing these principles consistently across and throughout the organization. Clean core is built on principles that focus on building resilient business processes and extensions. These are supported by critical enablers, seamless integration, efficient operations, and high data quality. Yeah, so this here is our qualitative definition of clean core. In the next slide, I'll dive more into the quantitative aspects to give you a more concrete, measurable understanding of what clean core means in measurable terms. Now that we understand what clean core is conceptually, let's explore how we actually measure and track it. The clean core measurement framework enables customers to successfully advance toward a clean core by assessing their governance and maturity, defining concrete actions, and continuously tracking their success using the Clean Core KPIs. Yeah, enterprise architecture is helpful here. It provides the structured approach to measure and govern your Clean Core journey systematically. Our measurement framework consists of two key components. First, governance and maturity assessment. This provides recommendations regarding tooling, governance, structures like SSB, so a solution support board, and the expertise required to get and stay clean. The assessment covers all 5 Clean Core dimensions that are process, extensibility, data, integration, and operations. What makes this particularly valuable is its flexibility. You can conduct this assessment before, during, and or after your transformation. You can also select which specific dimensions and practices you want to evaluate based on your current priorities and objectives. And then second, moving to the right side of the slide, KPIs for continuous monitoring. These KPIs measure Clean Core adherence both during project implementation and then in ongoing operations. They are derived from analyzing system data and collected metrics, and then provide visibility into your health of your Clean Core. All automated KPIs are then visible through the RISE with SAP methodology dashboard, giving you a more centralized view of your progress. I think of this like a fitness program. The governance and maturity assessment is like establishing your fitness guidelines, proper nutrition, exercise routines, and mental health practices. The KPIs here are like your daily measurements. How much water do you drink? How intensive are your workouts? How many minutes do you meditate, if you would? So both elements work together to ensure you're making measurable progress towards your goal. And all of this then is supported by the RISE with SAP methodology, which includes Q gates for structured checkpoints and a comprehensive dashboard for ongoing monitoring. This ensures your Clean Core journey is measurable in the first place, but also methodical, measurable, and aligned with best practices. So I double-clicked on the left side of our chart here that is on governance and maturity, and now ultimately do introduce the 5 guiding principles that most of you very likely are very well aware of. What's important to me is to stress that all 5 dimensions are equally important. So do not focus too much on one of them. While we do have a deep dive today on extensibility due to our enterprise architecture perspective on the topic, and as I do receive most misconceptions and questions regarding extensibility, do make sure you digest all 5 and take all 5 serious. So the 5 Clean Core principles here ensure that business critical systems remain agile, cost efficient, and ready to adopt innovations that drive growth. Today, we focus on extensibility, which seeks to decouple extensions from the standard core. I do so, as stated, first, because in particular, I as enterprise architect receive most of the questions here. We enterprise architects have a particular right in arguing what path of extensibility to choose. And third, in particular, within the extensibility dimension, I observe excessive misconceptions that I try to debunk to some extent. So for this reason, let's double click on extensibility, our today's focus. Clean Core is about, or clean extensions are about decoupling any extension from standard. This can be done on stack or side by side with SAP BTP. But the main focus is to use released APIs released by SAP. And these released APIs are under a stability contract, quote unquote. So not a legal, but a technical contract that ensures the API is kept stable in the future. And with this, your extensions will stay stable, even over upgrades, and this will lead to less efforts in upgrades, less testing, less adoption due to higher confidence and stability. And additionally, the best available option shows that there might be cases where, for example, due to existing legacy code or missing APIs from SAP, the best technical option is chosen. So for every new extension, we should follow a process of continuous governance that is the lower part of the picture here. Details are also mentioned on the following slide. Yeah, this is really a must for every greenfield project to put a strong focus on governance. But even for brownfield, in future, all net new developments should follow this approach of clean extensions. So overarching, it is important for both greenfield and brownfield scenarios to measure your system and to keep an eye on the values. Do they develop into expected direction? For example, if you're in a greenfield implementation project that is based on the planned architecture to be 90% clean with regards to extensions, the result should not be have only 10% objects in tier 1 or ABAP cloud. So it's important to watch carefully on the numbers. If you expect, for example, new modifications based on the requirements, it is okay if your numbers are higher, but key is the informed decision and documentation. Yeah, so here we document what the clean extensions are and why they matter. And it's important to have the governance in place to really track and monitor the extensibility dimension of Clean Core throughout the implementation. Moving forward, we now deep dive into choosing from the full spectrum of SAP's extensibility paths, be them on stack or side by side with SAP BTP, supporting both low-code and pro-code development needs. So now we really dive into the how. So how to achieve clean extensions, our today's focus, given our enterprise architecture perspective. Now that we understand what Clean Core is conceptually and quantitatively, let's explore how we actually measure and track it. The Clean Core measurement framework no, let me put it differently. To achieve clean extensions, you need to ensure of 3 aspects. One is to create decoupled extensions to ensure upgrade stability by leveraging released APIs from SAP. Second, you need to ensure continuous governance from requirement to design through implementation to deployment. And third, ensure technical debt is always an informed decision. As I stated before, always an informed decision. Yeah. And today we focus on the first pillar on the left side, that is to create decoupled extensions to ensure upgrade stability. As you will see, there are different use case patterns to adopt to achieve a clean extension. Good. So now we really move to where to create these clean extensions. When it comes to creating clean extensions, SAP provides you with architectural flexibility through 2 primary approaches that you see on the slide here. This is where enterprise architecture guidance is helpful or even critical in helping you choose the right extensibility pattern for your specific use case. With SAP Build, which you see here on the gray layer, so with SAP Build, you can create extensions that run on stack in SAP S/4HANA Cloud or side by side on SAP BTP. The key is choosing the right combination based on your requirements and the capabilities you need. Let's start on the left side, on-stack extensibility. On-stack extensions are ideal when you need coupling and proximity to SAP S/4HANA data, transactions, or applications. These extensions run directly within your SAP S/4HANA environment. Key characteristics of on-stack extensibility include transactional consistency when jointly changing data from SAP standard tables and custom tables, high volume data access requiring complex SQL queries and joins, or frequent access to SAP standard data of the extension that would require or that would reside in too many round trips between the extension and the core if done remotely. So you can create these on-stack extensions to adapt and extend standard SAP applications, such as adding custom fields to UIs, extending the SAP data model, or adapting standard business processes with custom logic. You can create on-stack extensions to create custom UI and full-stack applications that require close proximity to SAP business objects, or you can use it to create custom APIs to enable integration using public local sub-APIs. And then let me move to the right side of the slide, the side-by-side extensibility. Side-by-side extensions run on SAP BTP again. I mean, they run on SAP Build as outlined in the gray layer here, and can be decoupled from SAP S/4HANA through APIs and events. This approach offers greater flexibility for certain use cases. The key characteristics of these side-by-side extensions include applications for external users without SAP S/4HANA accounts, independent infrastructure and scalability operations with frequent deployments. It also includes standalone applications that can be entirely decoupled from core SAP processes, and it includes leveraging the more diverse development skill sets and programming languages. I would recommend you to create side-by-side extensions to create custom full-stack applications with independent life cycles, independent of the SAP stack. To use it to automate processes and tasks across multiple systems using low-code and no-code capabilities, and use it to create digital workspaces that integrate multiple business applications. So this is kind of the introduction to these separate kind of extension, on-stack extensibility and side-by-side extensibility. Notice the integration component in the center here. So this represents like a critical connection point between on-stack and side-by-side extensions, a integration capability to create hybrid architectures that leverage the best of both approaches. The choice between on-stack and side-by-side isn't binary as it probably is perceived here. Many successful implementations use a combination of both, with enterprise architecture providing the framework for making these decisions, then based really on your specific requirements, technical constraints given existing installations, and given your objectives. So that was the introduction where to actually create these clean extensions. That is, their architectural locus in the landscape and the use case pattern that kind of justifies the chosen path on SAP's spectrum of use case patterns. So SAP Build serves as the unified platform for creating all extensions. Again, you can see it in the gray layer, SAP Build here. Regardless of whether the extension runs on-stack or side-by-side on SAP BTP. This unified approach ensures consistency in your development practices, but also it provides the flexibility to choose the right technical approach for each use case. let's start with more specificity with on-stack extension, like the first design technique to extend. For on-stack extensibility, SAP Build provides both low-code and pro-code approaches to meet the different skill levels and requirements of users and developers. So highlighted with the first blue star here, as we today focus on the ABAP cloud environment, where again, architects are often confronted with tricky questions. So focus on this first blue star here, that is key user extensibility. This technique of offering extensibility empowers business experts to create extensions without deep technical implementation knowledge. So key users can adapt screen layouts, add custom fields to business objects, create custom business objects, or they can add validation logic using cloud battles and create custom CDS views for analytical applications. The main advantage here is speed. Simple extensions can be realized quicker because you eliminate the communication overhead between business experts and the developers. And then, still within the realm of on-stack extensibility, I move to our second star. So we remain in the ABAP cloud environment, but move from key users to now developers. Developer extensibility uses the ABAP cloud environment, and it is designed for more complex development projects requiring proximity to SAP S/4HANA data and transactions. This approach or technique for extensibility provides full development capabilities, including debugging, refactoring, and version control. Developers access the system through ABAP development tools and can leverage public SAP extension points and local public SAP APIs, all discoverable through the SAP Business Accelerator Hub. So with that, we switch to our third blue star. That is, we remain in the ABAP cloud environment from our architectural perspective, but move to side-by-side extensions. So for side-by-side extensibility on SAP BTP, SAP Build offers also comprehensive options across multiple domains. Application development through SAP Build apps is one option for low-code development. SAP Build Code here offers here opportunities for pro-code development, and SAP BTP ABAP environment for ABAP developers who want to leverage their existing skills in the cloud. As said, let's emphasize our special focus on the SAP BTP ABAP environment here. This environment deserves special attention as it provides the ABAP platform as a service, if you will. This allows ABAP-minded customers and partners to reuse existing skill sets while building modern cloud solutions. It's particularly optimized for hub scenarios that integrate multiple ERP systems and cloud services, or for partners who need to provide SaaS solutions independently. The architectural difference here is that accessing S/4HANA Cloud Business Objects requires remote APIs published in the SAP Business Accelerator Hub, ensuring clean separation and maintainable integrations. And then moving away from our blue star, process automation is also enabled via SAP Build Process Automation for low-code workflows and automation scenarios, and digital workspaces are enabled through SAP Build Workzone for creating integrated user experiences. Let me come back through our vantage point of today, the enterprise architecture perspective. From this perspective, this comprehensive tool set enables you to make technology choices based on business requirements rather than technical limitations. You can optimize for developer productivity while maintaining clean core principles throughout your extension landscape. All right, so I want to conclude the how section with the question of how to approach clean extensions in the first place. So this slide introduces the SAP application extension methodology, which provides a structured three-phase approach for defining extension tactics. The circular diagram here on the left shows the methodology's holistic circular nature, and the linear flow on the right details each phase's specific deliverables and progressions. So the SAP application extension methodology provides a structured, technology-agnostic approach for you, for customers and partners to define an organization-specific extension tactic. So when you face complex challenges like clean core, cloud readiness, and future-proof concepts, you need a custom-tailored extension method for your organization. And following this method for you then ensures that everyone in your project uses the same terminology to extend and quickly arrives at a common understanding of the business use case and future solution. I think if you adopt such a method, you'll gain an overview of possible technical extension building blocks and make informed decisions about your organization's future extension architecture. So, including what was presented before, you will find detailed guidance for both the use case patterns I presented on the slide before, but also for this method on SAP's help portal. You find the links in the slide, which are then going to be shared in the aftermath of this presentation. To sum it up, this structured approach you see here enables you to define an extension framework that provides guidance for your internal audience of architects and developers, and it ensures consistency and alignment with core principles throughout your organization. So our call here is really to approach clean extensions methodologically using our application extension methodology. All right. Yeah, with that, let me wrap up today's session. As we conclude our discussion on clean core, it's important for me to emphasize again that the 5 clean core principles work together to ensure that business critical systems remain agile, cost efficient, and ready to adopt innovations that drive growth. It's not only about extensibility. We just deep dive into it because in particular, enterprise architects are quite consumed when it comes to extensibility. It's really a tricky one. Yeah. So today we focused extensively on extensibility because I receive most questions regarding this particular principle, especially about the ABAP cloud environment, and because some statements I then hear are sometimes based on misconceptions that need clarification. However, very importantly, extensibility is only one of 5 interconnected principles that form the complete clean core strategy. Each principle serves a specific purpose in achieving a clean core. Okay, and to finalize the wrap up, here are the core benefits of a clean core implementation. And here is in particular my summary of your next steps. So the call for action, or my invitation to you, is to understand, adopt clean core principles for really informed architectural decisions. Modernize efficiently through standardization and fit to standard approaches. Accelerate transformation by reducing custom code and technical debt. Enhance agility with clean extensions and future-ready integrations. Unlock AI and analytics potential through high-quality, trusted data, and drive operational excellence with integrated toolchain and continuous governance. Probably as an additional next step, do visit sap.com for comprehensive clean core resources and guidance. From an enterprise architecture perspective, the perspective we adopted today, assess current state, define your target architecture, and implement the. Excellent. Yeah. Thank you for spending your precious time in at least this 4th and concluding session that is realizing clean core of our webcast series. No worries if you missed any of them. Replays are available. Yeah, and with that, we conclude our four-part webcast series on enterprise architecture for modern SAP landscapes. Thank you, Larissa, for hosting us. Thank you to the SAP Global User Groups organization and its Move to Cloud ERP series. Yeah, with that, I suggest we move on to the questions and then ultimately going to have a look at the results of the poll we started in the very beginning. Larissa, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Thanks again for those insights and sharing these important points and considerations for every type of enterprise architecture, especially in transformation process. So we have a couple of questions. We have some questions in Q&A tool and some of them in chat. So as we said, we would like to start with Q&A part. I can only invite Michael to look into Q&A part unless you prefer me to read the questions.
So Larissa, I understand you want me to start with the first question in the Q&A section.
Yes, let's start there and then move to the chat. Thank you.
Yeah, so first question here, just would like to clarify, with the clean core approach in S4HANA, are enhancements such as user exits and BADIs still acceptable within the system, or is it recommended to build these extensions on sub BTP instead? So this question is about the clean core approach, user exits and BADIs clarification. To me, user exits are deprecated and should be avoided, but BADIs remain acceptable when using the clean variants, that is cloud BADIs. The key is distinguishing between clean core and between clean and non-clean extension points. So that is, if you will, my short answer. I can give a bit more detailed explanation and start with the user exits. They are not clean core compliant. User exits are deprecated and not part of the clean core approach. They represent legacy extension mechanisms, in my understanding, that create technical debt. They should be migrated to modern alternatives. In turn, BADIs are clean variants and acceptable. So there are cloud BADIs that are clean. They are fully supported in the clean core approach, available in both on-premise and cloud editions, and use stable published interfaces and support clean core principles. And then on the other hand, there are the classic BADIs. They are, I would classify them as non-clean. They should be avoided in clean core implementations. They may use unstable internal interfaces and they create potential upgrade complications. So I hope this first response was helpful. If not, I invite the attendee who asked the question to approach me later. Then a next question. In sub BTP and sub build, is sub BTP and sub build bundled together with S4HANA, or are they licensed separately? Yeah, so to answer this question, I do need to refer to our licensing and sales colleagues. Usually I'm engaged in the actual implementation work, not too familiar with the actual licensing. SAP Build is part of the SAP BTP product family. To what extent consumption points and licenses apply here, I cannot give a reasonable answer. And therefore, invite again the attendee to reach out to me, and I can then forward the question to our licensing colleagues. All right. Next question by Jacob Chaco. Thank you for asking the question. would you say classic user exit implementations in old ways of working would move to on-stack extensibility? Yeah. So first and foremost, this is an excellent question as it exemplifies the type of questions that the enterprise architects now increasingly send out by SAP, both through the global EAs to premium engagement customers, but also to RISE EAs sent to RISE customers receive this question. To answer the question, that is, again, would you say classic user exit implementations in old ways of working would move to on-stack extensibility? My short answer is not exactly. So classic user exits don't directly move to on-stack extensibility as a category. They need to be implemented using clean core compliant methods, which could be either on stack or side by side, depending on the complexity. A longer answer would be that a user exit assessment is required. So each classic user exit needs individual evaluation. There are ones with simple business logic. They could then be an on-stack using cloud BADIs. There could be ones with complex business logic. They would be more targeted by side on SAP BTP. There could be ones with data modifications that would then often sit side by side with API integration. So it depends. My point here is this question requires an enterprise architecture decision framework, going through a set of questions that include business criticality. So how essential is this functionality? Complexity. Is it simple validation versus a complex business logic? Then the data access patterns of this user exit. Does it modify core business objects? Integration requirements. Does it connect to external systems? And of course, the maintenance frequency. How often does it change? Yeah, so again, great question, both on a content level, but also for exemplifying
Michael,
the type of questions or those sent by SAP.
Yeah, we experience again broken audio from your side. Can you please repeat
Very
what
unfortunate.
you... Yeah.
Am I back?
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, apologies for that. I don't know what's going on. Let's make the best of it. Yeah, my concluding statement regarding this question was that it really depends. A set of evaluation question is most effective here. Per user exit or per classic user exit, ask yourself carefully about its business criticality, about its complexity, about the access patterns to data, about its integration requirements, and about the maintenance frequency. And through this set of questions, you will identify that is clean. Okay, Larissa, how about we quickly in resolving our initial question about clean core.
Unfortunately, I can't hear you properly. I can hear this broken audio. So the questions in the Q&A part, we still have questions there. I'm not sure whether you answered them all. The question, would you recommend building custom report on the on-stack extensibility or on SAP BTP? I'm not sure if you already answered this one.
No, not yet. So first and foremost,
Michael, we probably need to do something about the audio, or probably try to go off camera, so maybe we can achieve a better quality for audio.
Yeah, so first and foremost,
Now you're frozen, unfortunately.
Yeah, so you.
All right. Unfortunately, we can't.
Okay, now I adjusted the setup. Am I back?
Now you're back. Okay, thank you. So there are 3 more questions in Q&A part.
Yeah, exactly. So apologies for this inconvenience. Nevertheless, let's invest the remaining time. And we set out to invest the remaining 5 minutes to resolve the initial poll we set. Yeah, we have 32 responses regarding the following question. So what is your biggest architectural concern when implementing core with cloud extensibility? So the biggest concern with 63% of responses is managing complexity while preserving business process continuity. So if that's not a case for a strong enterprise architecture ability in your project, what wouldn't be? Because managing complexity is our core business. Number 2, with 56% of responses, is maintaining governance and control over distributed cloud extensions is the biggest architectural concern when it comes to clean core with cloud extensibility. Number 3, ensure native services, and ultimately 1% of responses. The 4th biggest are establishing clear bound extensions. The good thing is, for all of these, again, be them your internal architects, be them SAP or partner, enterprise architects being sent by system integrators, for example. That, with this initial question or the webinar poll, we can indeed go back to the questions in the Q&A with, again, multiple questions by Jacob Checo. So yeah, you're doing an excellent job in raising all questions related to extensibility. So let's go to your last one. In the SAP pricing procedure on sales order, we have the option to create requirement routines, base requirement routines to help customize complex pricing needs of customers. Could you advise how to approach this on the on-stack extensibility? And then thank you, Michael, for the excellent session and the insight you provided, very valuable. So yeah, firstly, thank you for the feedback. And now coming to your question, let me think. So could you advise how to approach this on the on-stack extensibility? And we are here talking, yeah. So requirement routines and base requirement routines in pricing procedures are indeed classic customization points that need clean core transformation. And these typically involve custom ABAP code that determines when pricing conditions should be active. For me, a primary solution, so business rule, what we refer to as business rules framework plus. It's a recommended path most scenarios, that is replace custom requirements or replace custom requirement routines with these BRF plus for pricing, and benefits then are no custom code, rule-based configuration, and business user maintainability. question, I'm happy to reach out to you, Jacob, for more detailed answers for the remainder of your questions. And probably with that, with the full hour approaching, I thank the audience for investing their precious time, at least in this last webcast today, focusing on realizing a clean core in which enterprise architects play the vital role. You can replay any of the given of the recorded sessions. And with that, I again thank Larissa for having me, for hosting us, and probably for some concluding words I give back to you, Larissa.
All right. Thank you, Michael. And I can recommend to Jacob to contact Michael directly to deep dive into your questions. Unfortunately, we don't have time for all of them, and some of the questions are really worth of deep dive. For this, would be great if you connect with him directly. So there was one more question in the chat. I think it was connected to one of the slides that Michael have shown, might get covered. So disregard if so, but how, where, what KPIs to measure clean core for on-prem? So I'm not sure whether you would like to pick this up, this question, or should I recommend them to contact you for this directly.
I think for the sake of closing today and rounding it up, I would invite for reaching out to me for this one, as it's really rather specific, and then I'm happy to answer it in a one-on-one.
All right, so to Mike and Jabil, please go ahead and contact Michael to deep dive into your question as well. With this, thank you very much for being with us. Thank you, Michael, for presenting and sharing all the insights. As I've already mentioned, all the materials will be available on our YouTube playlist shortly. So please leverage these materials. Check our materials, watch the replay, look into PDF, and make your projects with this knowledge more successful. This is our ultimate goal. With this, thank you very much, and bye-bye.